In today's generation, we almost think that wonder women are those who earn equal job opportunities or those who work out every day for immense strength. Did you ever wonder there is much more a woman can achieve than we know? I always dreamt of knowing about such magnificent women of our ancient history who unleashed their true potential and became everlasting ideals. Through this series of episodes called Wonder Women of Ancient India, I will be narrating about such wonderful beings. Today, I will tell you about a master, a wonder woman, Gargi Vachaknavi. Gargi Vachaknavi, born about 7th century BCE, was an ancient Indian philosopher and a yogi. She is honored as a great natural philosopher in ancient times in India, who came to know about real self or Brahma are called Brahmins, but those women who came to know about their true self, Brahma, the self-knowledge, they called Brahmavadanis. Her name became famous when she participated in a philosophical debate with Saint Yajnavalkya. She asked very important questions on God, human life, what is matrix, and what is our reality, what's Brahma. In that time, a dogma that few ignorant people believe that women can't attain enlightenment. But this wonder woman proved them wrong. She attained enlightenment. She is a master of Kundalini energy. She even started a school and taught self-knowledge. She is always an inspiration for all of us, to every human being. It's Annamacharya, the great Telugu poet and ascended master, who brought Master Gargi's name again into light. He established a special Vedic school for women. Know your self-worth and self-power. Being a wonder woman is not always about killing the people in war, but sometimes it's about knowing the power in you and unlocking it. It is said that the strongest actions for a woman is to love herself, be herself, and shine amongst those who never believed she could. Today I am going to tell you about Suja Mitri. She is one of the most learned and virtuous women of ancient India. Her father Maitri, who lived in the kingdom of Mithila, was a minister in the court of King Janaka. Mahabharata states Suja Mitri is a young beauty who never marries. She became a partner to sage Yajnavalkya in decoding the knowledge of the self. She is a master in Advaita philosophy and studied quantum physics. She engaged in an enlightening dialogue with Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya offered half of his wealth to Maitreyi, but she refused and asked him to teach knowledge of immortality. Because she knew that when she understands the true power of herself, she can manifest anything. Maitreyi asked, "If now, sir, this whole earth filled with wealth were mine, would I be immortal thereby?" "No," said Yajnavalkya. "As the life of the rich, even so would your life be of immortality. However, there is no hope through wealth." Then said Maitreyi, "What should I do with that through which I may not be immortal?" "What you know, sir, that indeed tell me." Yajnavalkya replied to Maitreyi, "Ah, lo dear, as you are to us, dear is what you say. Come, sit down, I will explain to you. But while I am expounding, do seek to ponder thereon." The Maitreyi Yajnavalkya dialogues includes a discussion of self-love and the essence of whom one loves, suggesting that love is a connection of the soul and the universal self. When one expresses love to you, whether it's your friend or any family member or even a stranger, know that your soul is expressing the love through them. Lo, verily, not for love of a husband is a husband dear, but for the love of the self a husband is dear. Not for the love of the wife is a wife dear, but for love of the self is a wife dear. Brihadaranyaka. After knowing about this wonder woman Maitreyi, we should know that all love is a reflection of one's own soul. and knowing the knowledge of self and realizing the immortality is true wealth. Money can't buy self-knowledge or immortality, but after knowing about your true self, you can achieve and manifest anything. There is a famous saying in Telugu, a black stone can be cracked by a man's observation. However, the people took it the other way around. But in truth, this saying can be directly linked to quantum mechanics and the observer effect. Today, I'm going to tell you about an authoress who could literally crack a stone with her devotional observation. Matrushri Tarigonda Vengamamba, born on 20th April 1730 in a village called Tarigonda in Andhra Pradesh, prevailed as an author and a poet with many mystical powers. She calls the self or the God within as Lord Venkateshwara. She calls the Lord as her husband and dedicated all works to the ideal of Almighty. She learned the science of yoga from Saint Subramanya. However, she left her birthplace Tarigonda and lived in a sanctuary near Tirumala, where she had to face many adversities from the temple priests and other hierarchies.
As she began teaching people the self-knowledge, and she rebelled against the superstitions.
They expelled her out of Tirumala and forced her to take refuge in a remote cave, which later she could enter the temple from the cave through a secret tunnel that wasn't there before. People say that it was made by the Lord for her devotion. The people who misbehaved with her realized their mistakes by seeing her immense devotion and pleaded her to return to Tirumala. It is said that while digging a well in her garden, the diggers encountered a gigantic stone which they couldn't dig any further. Then our Wonder Woman stepped down into the half-dug well and focused her attention on the stone. She made a crack in it without any tool and the water made its way to the well. Her first poetic collection was Tarigonda Nrisimha Satakam, Nrisimha Vilasakada, Siva Natakam, Balakrishna Natakam as Yakshaganam, Song of Angels, and Rajayoga Amritasaram, Essence of Immortality in Raja Yoga. Many mystical beings used to visit her after twilight to listen to her songs and writings, participated in philosophical debates, and even shared their knowledge with her. People in southern India honor her with the name Matrushri, the Divine Mother. The Government of India released a postal stamp in 2017 in her honor. The legends about her say she lives even today and inspires people in the path of enlightenment, as she got blessed by the Lord to do so unto forever. Just as Sir Nikola Tesla stated, the gift of mental power comes from God, divine being, and if we concentrate on the truth, we become in tune with this great power. Our Wonder Woman, Matrushri Tarigonda Vengamamba, demonstrated the power of divine observation. Today, we are going to talk about an inspiration and a true master of divine love, Andal, Godha Devi. She stood as a wonderful example to those who look for the divine providence through enlightenment. Ascended Master Godha, who is also called Nachiyar, is a wonderful composer, author. She wrote a 30-verse Tirupavai and Nachiyar Tirumoli, which comprises of 143 poems. She is one of the 12 Alavas that took an active part in the Bhakti movement. However, she is much more ancient and contemporary of the first Telugu emperor, Srikakulam Andhra Vishnu, who later became her consort. Andal Godha Devi performed her ascent before the public at Srirangam temple. In honor of her, a temple at Siriveliputtur has been built by Cholas. According to the folklore, Vishnu Chitta, a flower picker who makes the garlands for the temple deity, found Godha as an infant under a tulasi tree. She was named as Godai in Tamil and Godha in Sanskrit, which means the string of flowers. However, he often saw his daughter standing before the mirror, wearing the garlands he made before they are being sent to the temple. There is a reason behind that. Godha is a well-educated woman. She is well-versed in all Vedas and all languages. In a way, she is a polymath. Who knew that she is divine? So is everyone. To say this, she intentionally did such acts and she blatantly refuses to marry anyone but the god, which she is actually presenting the communion with God with it. Thus, one day, when Godha's father garlanded the deity with the one worn by Godha, the garland became gold. Then, at the same time, he met a mystical being in his dream and got a reaffirmation that his daughter is an adept and will be a light to the humanity. She would only get wedded to God. Later on, the first Telugu emperor, Andhra Vishnu, who became an ascended master and ruled his kingdom in peace, came to Srirangam, where he first met Godha. Thus, she physically wedded the ascended master and lived a prosperous life. Everyone thought that Srikakula Andhra Vishnu was a mystical ruler until the Vijayanagara emperor Sri Krishna Devaraya encountered this legendary being in a state that can't be termed as a mere dream, but as a lucid reality, or reality as enchanting as a dream. He saw a man, tall and dark-skinned, clad in fine silk, with a jewel hung to his breastplate, his eyes shimmering as bright as sun. He introduced himself as the ruler of Telugu people, the Telugu Vallabha. His countenance is as glorious as Vishnu. Then the mighty being spoke to Krishna Devaraya for a long time and bade him to write a book in Telugu. Thus, this scenario has been noted down by the king himself in the book written by him, entitled Amukta Malyada. In that, the encounter of the mystical emperor happens from the 13th poem to 14th poem. Andhra Vishnu introduces himself and praises Telugu as the finest among the languages in the country. Apart from Amukta Malyada, there are many Telugu poets who documented the glory of this mighty ruler, that he built huge walls between the three Shiva temples, Sri Sailam, Sri Kalahasti and Bhimeshwara, adjoining them to form a triad in order to trap Nishumbha, a giant, and his horde. Thus, with his great army and his personal might, he terminated the giant and his troops, clearing out the caves in the forest. Telugu Vallabha, from the then on, after slaying the giant, took on a radiant glow, got the name Andhra Vishnu. Even today, the garlands that were put around the idol of Godha at Sirivelliputtur will be brought to Tirupati as a custom to acknowledge Master Godha's greatness.
As many think of free will is to be reckless and do whatever they think unconsciously. But this woman proved that free will is not getting tainted by external influences and false ideals or idols. But she freed her mind by focusing on the ideal of God within, even though she is not being given the freedom that every woman deserves. Today, I'm going to tell you about a Wonder Woman who unleashed her true potential with a simple living by applying the ancient knowledge. Polamma or Poli. Being born in a washerman's family in ancient India, some say she is from Varanasi, North India, and some say she is from Krishna district, Andhra Pradesh. Polamma is a simple-minded woman who always contemplates the God within and never judges anyone. But her mother-in-law and other relatives used to ignore and insult her by not giving proper importance to her in the family. She is the one who is busy in homemaking. Her mother-in-law used to irritate her by not giving proper time for contemplation. During the festive month of Kartika, the villagers used to go to the river to light the festive lights in plantain shells and leave them in the river flow. But our Wonder Woman didn't get that opportunity to do like that every day, as she is being intentionally busied by her mother-in-law and sisters in house chores, and they locked her down. But she didn't give up. Instead, she made her own light to focus. She filled some butter in a shell and used to make cotton wicks from a cotton plant in her garden to light the lamp of her own to focus on the flame with true heart. She did like this for 40 days. On the eve of 40th day, everyone in the village noticed a spaceship coming towards Polamma's house. Then Polamma's body became light and boarded the ship in front of her family and villagers by telling everyone can do the same by doing what she did. Thus, she left with the ship into the heavens. Even today in India, people celebrate this festival and memorize Polamma's ascent to heaven. And even the washermen in South India celebrate Polamma's ascension in the month of February. They call it the new moon day of Pola. By observing Polama's lifestyle, we can learn three things. Those are pure in spirit, simple mind, and sticking to the ideal by not giving up will lead us to the heaven within. Many women of today either fight for their equal rights, expecting the society to value them, or get stuck with the enslaving ideals of famous personalities for their identity, but often they don't realize their true potential and own value. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about a legendary woman who broke the barrier of gender inequality. She's not just equal to a man, but more than a man. Rudra Madvi, the kingly empress. She is from 12th century AD. Rudra Madvi probably began her rule of the Kakatiya kingdom jointly with her father, Ganapati Deva, as his co-regent in her early age of 14. She assumed full sovereignty as an empress in 1260. King Ganapati Deva raised her in a unique and wise way. He trained his one and only daughter like a male warrior. She used to roam around her kingdom like a prince to solve commoners' problem. In many inscriptions, her name was written as Emperor Rudra Deva. She gave a lot of importance to cultural heritage. She is a master of dance form called Perini Shivadandam. This unique dance form is called Dance of Warriors. Warriors before leaving to the battlefield used to energize their bodies with this dance form. Perini is a vigorous dance done to the resounding beats of drums. Dancers drive themselves to a state of trance where they feel the power of Shiva in their body. While dancing, they evoke Shiva to come into their bodies. Rudra Madvi chose to recruit many people as warriors who were not aristocratic. She granted them rights over land tax revenue in return for their support. This was a significant change and one that was followed by her successor Prataparudra. Rudra Madvi married Chalukya Veerabhadra, the prince of Nadadavolu, and she has two daughters. A fierce warrior king named Mahadeva, who is known to be undefeatable in Indian subcontinent, got defeated by a Wonder Woman in a hand-to-hand combat. Then Mahadeva got awestruck by Rudra Madvi's abilities. Even though he got defeated, he performed a shower of gold coins to the feet of the empress and honored her. The unknown fact about this wonder lady is, at the age of 90, she participated in a war against tyrannical ruler Ambadeva, who got defeated by our Wonder Woman for several times. When an Italian adventurer, Marco Polo, visited this kingdom around 1289, he got impressed by Rudra Madvi's administration and her divine personality. He wrote in his book about Rudrama in an amazing, kind and powerful way. He stated that she is a kind and benevolent ruler. During her administration, some of her cousins questioned her ability as a warrior in protecting her vast kingdom. They doubted her ability because she is a woman. Then our Wonder Woman took it as a challenge and doubled her training. She trained herself that no male warrior can match. She has always been victorious inside and outside. Even she trained her grandson Prataparudra too, who later became her worthy successor to that kingdom. In order to be a warrior, one doesn't have to be stronger in body, but have to be stronger in mind first. Poet Akam Mahadevi wrote in his book Prataparudra Charitra that Empress Rudra Madvi eventually refrained herself from royal matters and focused her full attention to the god within. After Prataparudra's coronation, then she ascended into higher planes. Empress Rudra Madvi is a clear example and symbol of woman power. She proved that if a woman can train her body and mind to that extent with focus, she will achieve anything.
Today, I'm going to tell you about a lovable mystic poet and a Wonder Woman, Mirabai. She was from 16th century. She was born into a Rajput royal family in Kuiki, Pali district, Rajasthan. She was known by her contribution to the Bhakti movement. Meera wrote many poems on love of divine self. These poems are commonly known as bhajans. She calls the real self as Krishna in her poems. Meera ke Prabhu Avinashi re, my Lord God is indestructible. She took initiation from Master Ravidas. Many people don't know that she used to walk on the water like Jesus Christ. Meera's devotion towards God is so profound. She used to do some disciplines like focusing on the candle flame and dancing in translucent state and spreading the truth through her songs and poems. Her husband Bhojraj built a separate temple of Krishna for Meera. Her teachings influenced many legends, including Akbar. Many think that Meera felt Lord Krishna as her husband, but in truth, she stated that her husband is the spirit, self. In ancient times, people also used to call God as Krishna, means void. Lord Krishna is indeed her master teacher because the Bhagavad Gita taught many things to the humanity since thousands of years. A number of compositions by Mirabai continue to be sung today in India. One of her most popular compositions remains, Payo ji mene Ram Ratan Dhan Payo. I have been given the richness of the Ram's blessings. There is a museum in Rajasthan especially dedicated to Meera. Meera performed many miracles. This Wonder Woman taught humanity how to love your divine self.
Today, I'm going to talk about a fierce warrior princess, Vaishno Devi. Before going into the story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon so that you will get notified when I upload a new video. Let's start the video. Vaishno Devi is a fierce warrior princess who chose to live a simple life in the wilderness, waiting to be unified with the Supreme Lord. According to the legend, she took inspiration from the Ram to walk the path of enlightenment. It is said that she used to carry a bow and arrows. One day, she met Lord Ram in the jungle and she expressed her desire to be with him always. He got very impressed by her abilities and dedication. He said he will return after being victorious in his battle. However, he did return, but in a different form. She was unable to recognize him, so being the lover of the unseen, the Ram had promised her again that he would return in the future as Kalki, where she has to recognize him in order to know the true self. Lord Ram told her to focus on Trikuta mountain in order to attain Nirvana. From then on, she set up an ashram under Trikuta mountain where she used to host a grand feast once a year to all sages around the globe. She used to manifest the food from a pot, so the guests for the feast is countless. A sage sent his disciple Bhairava to that feast on a mission to test her authenticity. But that man misbehaved with Vaishnavi. She saved herself by becoming wind and killed that man. But later, she resurrected him and he apologized her and became her disciple. Imagine how powerful she is and how motherly she is. Mata Vaishno Devi temple is located in Katra, Trikuta mountains within the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The temple is one of the 108 Shakti Pitas. This temple is one of the richest ones in India. Millions of devotees visit this place every year during the Navratri period. The annual income of this temple is 16 million. This journey to these hills is the most adventurous experience. It is also said that Arjuna spoke of Vaishno Devi in Mahabharata too.
On the contrary to the common spiritual belief that enlightenment is a lonely journey, there are civilizations that proved it wrong, and there are women that made it possible by understanding the true nature of the divine Trinity, the mystery of spirit, soul and the human body, together called Tripura. Today I am going to tell you about such victorious woman by name Hemalekha. This account is an excerpt from the book Tripura Rahasyam, the secret of the divine Trinity, documented by Ascended Master Hari Tayana. In this ancient book, the documentation of Hemalekha's glory has been uttered by Ascended Master Dattatreya to help Lord Parashuram in his self-conquest. Hemalekha was abandoned as an unwanted child in the jungle by her parents, who are the rulers of separate kingdoms with separate families. A sage named Vyagrapada found her, named her as Hamaleka, and raised her as a godchild in his school of ancient wisdom in the jungle. Thus Hamaleka becomes a wise woman with self-knowledge. She married a prince named Hemachuda, who got estranged from his army and his brother Manichuda after a terrible storm. After returning to the kingdom, Prasanadesa with Hamaleka, the prince Hemachuda asked his wife that's why she is not that much excited about seeing all the royal treasures and comforts, and the reason behind her immense joy. Then she became a teacher to her husband and helped him in attaining enlightenment. She told her husband that her parents gifted her a friend at birth, which represents her body-mind. Later on, her friend got acquainted with a lady named Sunya, Mrs. Nobody, the personality or the artificial intelligence. Mrs. Nobody has a son, Moha, Mr. Addiction. Then Hamaleka's friend married Mr. Addiction, gave birth to a son named Asthira, Instability. After some time, Mr. Instability married Miss Monkey Mind and Miss Lethargy, and he had 5 sons, 3 with lethargy, 2 with monkey mind. They are 1. Judgment and regret, 2. Ill fame, 3. Disease, 4. Slumber and discomfort, 5. Calmness and chaos. But it is Hamaleka who had to nourish all the family and observe their movements, and yet none of them inherited Hamaleka's qualities. But one day, Mr. Addiction got bored with Hamaleka's friend and got lustful for Hamaleka. People who saw Hamaleka in that situation thought that she got taken down by Mr. Addiction. Soon after that, Hamaleka's friend came for aid. Then Hamaleka introduced her to Viragi, Mr. Observer, the non-attachment. Hamaleka's friend immediately married Mr. Observer. With his help, she killed Mrs. Nobody, her son Addiction, later the rest of the family. Then, on Hamaleka's advice, her friend ascended to Hamaleka's mother, Tripura, the god within, and separated no more. After learning the knowledge of self-conquest from Hamaleka, her husband took on that journey. Soon, the whole family learned that sacred knowledge from her and attained enlightenment. Then the whole kingdom of Prasanadesa learned the knowledge, and every child and commoner in the kingdom spoke of the observer and quantum physics. Even the pet parrots in their houses repeated those words. Thus, the whole kingdom became enlightened. They achieved immortality and ascended into eternity. Later, their kingdom was named as Brahmapura. It is said that a child's primary perception of the world depends upon a mother's wisdom imparted to her child. A Wonder Woman is also a mother who raises her child to its own potential. Today I am going to tell you about Queen Madalasa, the Wonder Mother. Ascended Master Markandeya brought her enlightening story to light through Markandeya Purana. Rutadwaja is a great king who lost his wife Madalasa during his early days of coronation. He raised his Kundalini energy and accessed his inner power, then brought back Madalasa. When Queen Madalasa returned, she is now well equipped with self-knowledge. Queen Madalasa chose a unique way to raise her 4 children. She took a word from her husband, Rutadwaja, that she would only educate her children through self-knowledge, but not through contemporary education of those days in school. Thus, Queen Madalasa began teaching enlightenment to her 4 sons, one after the other: Vikranta, Shatrumardana, Subahu, and Alarka, beginning with a lullaby collection called Madalasa Upadesha. Madalasa says to her crying son, "You are pure, enlightened, and spotless. Leave the illusion of the world and wake up from this deep slumber of delusion." Some may refer to you as father, and some others may refer to you as son, or some may refer to you as a mother, and someone else may refer to you as a wife. Some say you are mine, and some others say you are not mine. These are all references to what they see. Do not identify with them. The vehicle that moves on the ground is different from the person in it. Similarly, this body is also different from the person who is inside. Queen Madalasa says, the reality, as you call it, Maya. Maya literally means that which is not there. It is but a dream. Queen Madalasa often says that there is nothing important about names or personal identity to do with achieving enlightenment. So, unlike the first three sons, she named the fourth son with the name of a flower. Thus, she started teaching one by one with enlightening aspects of self and helped them to achieve enlightenment and immortality. In realizing the divinity within them, as the first three sons became enlightened, they chose to ascend to celestial realms and they are reluctant to oversee the kingdom. But the fourth son, named Alarka, struggled to understand the subtle aspects of self as he got too much into political affairs while ruling his kingdom. Before Madalasa's final ascent to heavens, she gifted Alarka a ring with an embedded message in it and asked him to open it only when he got depressed and find no other way to get out of it. Thus, Alarka wore the ring and went on living his normal life. As Alarka almost lost the path of enlightenment and the political affairs consumed his full attention, which resulted disease in his embodiment, Alarka's elder brother Subahu thought of teaching him a lesson. So he motivated the king of Varanasi to attack Alarka's kingdom. Thus, the king of Varanasi invaded the kingdom and expelled Alarka out of it. Only then Alarka opened the message in the ring gifted by his mother. In it, Queen Madalasa wrote, "Keep society away and keep lust away. If you can keep society away, be associated with beings that are on the path of enlightenment. And if you can get off from lust, divert it into passion of realizing the God within." Then Alarka searched for a being who is leading a balanced life. Then he met Master Dattatreya in the wilderness and went under initiation of knowledge and attained enlightenment. Then Alarka regained his kingdom. Thus Alarka ruled the kingdom for hundreds of years before his final ascension. Queen Madalasa is always a great inspiration to every mother on earth in inspiring their children to attain enlightenment and achieving ultimate greatness in life.
The world is slowly becoming aware of itself, and the qualities inherited from the God within, among them, the arts that facilitate a high quality living, originated from the people who realized that the divine essence is what provides them. Among these arts, Kalaripayattu stands as an extrasensory defense system against the invader propaganda. Among Kalari warriors, Lady Unniyarcha has a unique place. In the ballads of Vadakkan Pattukal, it was written that Lady Unniyarcha born into a warrior family of Chekavars in the 16th century. Her father is a legendary warrior, Kannappa Chekavar. She is the master of multi-bladed Urimi, the fierce weapon among all. She started training in Kalari when she is 7 with her two brothers who are great warriors too. She married Kunjiraman, the master of Puttusari Kalari, which remains in Kannur. The form of Kalaripayattu taught by Unniyarcha still remains in North Malabar. Lady Unniyarcha is a majestic warrior blended with magnificence and genius. She is also a wonderful dancer. One day, when she decided to perform at the festival of Kotu in an ancient temple, she has been warned not to go in that route as it has been infested by inward-backed marauding groups. So, her in-laws suggested her husband, Kunjiraman, to accompany her. As they expected, in the way they have been circled by the enemies who first underestimated the couple. However, Unniyarcha, being a fierce warrior, contrary to her husband, who insists upon peacemaking first rather than combat, found that there will be no use in negotiating with the enemies. She vehemently fought with them with just her Urmi, even made Kunjiraman awestruck that the enemy leader had to surrender before Unniyarcha. Lady Unniyarcha, who later became an ascended master, is said to be roaming here and there in Kerala, even today, and her tale is widely told among Kalari practitioners to tell the learners the value of this ancient martial art. Thank you so much for watching this beautiful episode of Warrior Unniyarcha.
Today, I am going to tell you about a wonder woman. Akam Mahadevi was one of the early female poets of the Kannada literature and a prominent person in the Lingayat sect. In the 12th century, She wrote more than 430 vachanas, poems. Those poems are her realization on Shiva, God's self, and her two short writings called Mantra Gopya and Yoganga Trivedi are considered her most notable contributions to Kannada literature. She took an active part in Bhakti movement. The Lingayat saints honored her by calling Akka means elder sister. She was born in Udutadi, near Shivamogga, in the Indian state of Karnataka. She wrote that she was a woman only in name, but she realized that her mind and body became Shiva, who lives within her. She used to contemplate in nature and in Sri Sailam caves. Akam Mahadevi is said to have refused to wear any clothing. She explained in her vachana like this: people, male and female, blush when a cloth covering their shame comes loose, and the Lord of lives drawn without a face. In the world, how can you be modest? When all the world is the eye of the Lord, on looking everywhere, what can you cover and conceal? Though she didn't cover herself up hardly with any clothes, she said that God is expressing itself through everyone. With this realization of her, everyone saw her as their elder sister. We should not forget these legendary Wonder Women. She believed she could, so she did.
It is said that rulers who kept India back on its spiritual heels after invasion, for example, the Vijayanagara kingdom and the Maratha empire, instead of renovating them, they would have become even stronger in the army if they had turned their wealth into this. But they gave superior priority to the God within and the sacred knowledge and culture of this nation. Today, I am going to tell you about a Wonder Woman, Queen Ahilyabai Holkar. Ahilyabai came to the throne in 1754 and became a savior, not only of a kingdom, but most of the surviving ancient temples of this land. She herself was a great warrior and personally led armies to the battleground and saved many temples from the invaders. She even reconstructed the present structure of Kashi Vishwanath Temple, Varanasi, to the Mallikarjuna Temple of Sri Sailam. Ahilyabai was not only good at warcraft, she is a philosopher, a musician, and encouraged the creative side in her court of Maheshwar. The greatest thing about her was that she never used public funds or asked for donations to reconstruct the ancient temples. Many historians call her the philosopher queen. An English poet, Joanna Baillie, wrote about her like this: for 30 years, her reign of peace, the land in blessing did increase, and she was blessed by every tongue, by stern and gentle, old and young. Yeah, even the children at their mother's feet are taught such homely rhyming to repeat. In latter days, from Brahma came to rule our land a noble dame. Kind was her heart and bright her fame, and Ahilya was her honored name.
In our education system, we have been fed up with stories of restlessness and failure when we are to look for freedom fighters that stood up against colonialism. But there is lots of history that has been kept behind from our eyes. Admiral Queen Abbakka Devi Chauta is one of the warrior class who always been victorious in every aspect and conquered herself to an extent that she can be compared with a phoenix. The Chautas follow a maternal lineage. King Tirumalaraya III of Ullal in the state of Karnataka, India, crowned his niece Abbakka in 1525. Right after that, she faced an attack from the Portuguese, who totally underestimated her valor. She fought with them fearlessly and repelled them out of her kingdom. When the Portuguese occupied the Mangalore port and destroyed it, Queen Abbakka battled fearlessly and defeated the colonials again. Later on, she successfully defeated them in all of their repeated attacks. At one time, the man who was her husband betrayed her and joined the Portuguese. Her fort was circled and she had to hide in a mosque. Then she rebelled overnight with just 200 soldiers on her side, sacking the Portuguese general. Even the viceroy himself was worried. He sent a large army in 1570 on her. She gathered the armies of other kingdoms and repelled the enemy after long labor. After that, either at the end of 1570 or in 1581, a similar attack came where again Ulal has been captured and the queen was captivated and said to have been attacked. But she got resurrected and conquered death like a phoenix. From then on, she is called as Abhayarani, the fearless queen of Arabian Sea. Thus, she again repelled a massive naval fleet of Portuguese in 1618. Among the travelers who visited India from Europe, Pedro della Valle earns a special place as he almost focused on the miraculous aspects of Middle East and the Far East, especially India. During his travels in India, somewhere around 1621 and 1624, he met Queen Abaka and was awestruck to see her radiance blended in commonality of that period. Pedro della Valle said that the queen resembles a natural Ethiopian in complexion. She looks about 40 years. Did you know? She's approximately over 115 years by the moment of the meeting. You see how vital the people of our land then? In the year 2012, Indian Navy introduced a patrolling vessel in the honor of her name. Queen Abaka is one of the great masters of this nation. She courageously proves that this land has always been at the side of people who are willing to wake up and stand for the God within. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please share this knowledge with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.